There's no way that a tornado happens in Michigan in March. That just doesn't happen. Growing up in Michigan, you didn't get a lot of severe weather, hardly ever. Um, Probably, the best thing we'd get is every July we'd see like a big line of thunderstorms come through, and we get 40, 50-mile-an-hour gusts that would blow a few leaves off of the trees, and like that was it. We never got anything. No hail, hardly any wind, never, I mean, hardly ever a tornado. I remember maybe one time in my early childhood that we got the weakest of weak tornado that like blew someone's shed over, and that was it. Just not really a place that weather can happen very often outside of snow, of course. Snow was probably about the only thing that we got of note. In some places of the world, snow is a luxury and they love to fantasize about it. If you grow up in a warmer climate that doesn't get snow, it's like the coolest thing ever to see snow. I'm going to tell you right now, from living in it for 18 years, it's not very cool. It's cool for like the first hour that it's on the ground and it's all pretty. The second you need to go somewhere or do something, or if it's been on the ground for 2.5 weeks and like it's dirty and slushy and it's just nasty outside and you're trudging everywhere to get the mail, it's suddenly not very fun. So you can romanticize about snow all you want. Um, Not my thing, personally. There was one day in high school, my senior year of high school, where we did have a very significant tornado event go through my hometown. And it was so strange because it was the middle of March. It was March 2019. And we were doing a theater show. I did theater in high school, and it was one of our show nights. And, there were calls for rain all day. And like the day before, they knew there were going to be some storms, but nothing, it was never supposed to be anything super major. And like going into it the night before, it was like 35, maybe 37 degrees out. Still not warm by any means. Michigan didn't get warm until April, early May. We'd get up into the 70s finally and 80s, and it would finally be decently warm. Mid afternoon, evening, these storms start to pop off near, I think, near like the Lansing area, a little bit west of Lansing. And I'm busy preparing for the show, so I'm not watching the weather. And we get into our positions on the stage. The show's starting, the lights are down, the music had just started. 30 seconds in, the music stops. We're all standing there on stage going, what is going on right now? Our director, who I guess was out in the audience at this point, we hear her say, there's a tornado warning, there's a tornado coming this way. We need to get you guys to shelter. So she knew I was kind of interested in weather at the time, and she told me like, "Hey, get them into the green room and get them settled the best you can. I got to take care of the audience." We were like, "Cool." Me and one of the other guys, one of the other seniors, were sort of taking people and lining them up against the wall. And I come to realize like the wall we're against is an outside wall, so we probably shouldn't be there. And the green room is tiny. It was this little room that we had to fit 60, 70 people into, and it was not comfortable. It was an outside room, or a room against an outside wall, and it was just not a good place to be during a storm like this. And I, radioed out to her. I said, "Hey, we need to move like further into the school. We can't be in this room." And it was at this time that there was an EF2 tornado on the ground near Vernon, Michigan. And I saw some of the videos and the pictures that were coming out on Twitter and on Facebook about it. And it was like, man, this is not like a weak, wimpy tornado. Like, this is a tornado that can actually hit stuff and destroy it potentially. And it was coming straight towards us at that point, like due northeast. It was going to plow very, very close to the school. So we all left the green room after the audience was settled in the school gym, and they put us in the middle of the hallway to the school. We have a multi-story school, and they put us on, like, on the lowest floor in the hallway. We were there for over 40 minutes hanging around. Like, we weren't super tucked up against the wall or anything, because I had the radar open at that point, and I'm like, okay, it's doing this, it's doing that. We weren't in, like, the worst position at that point, and the storm ended up curving north. But when we were on our way to the green room, she was hustling us out, and I stopped and looked outside, and it was I couldn't see the tornado, but it was this insane, like, upside down bowl structure with lines in it, and it was like straight up corkscrewing straight up into the sky, like nothing I'd seen before in Michigan. And it was like, this is probably the only time I'm ever going to see this, and it was so cool. And I didn't have time to get a picture because I couldn't have my phone in my costume. So I just have this mental image of this storm burned into my retinas, and I can't share the picture or show it or anything. The storm kind of made a left turn, and ended up producing a couple of tornadoes. Produced one in my friend's backyard, really weak EF0, only lasted about 30 seconds. Blew a tree over, an old tree. That was really it. Then hop skipped its way through the north side of Flint and hit a trailer park. But it was so strange that whole day. We're like, man, there's no way that a tornado happens in Michigan in March. That just doesn't happen. Especially in 2019, that just hadn't happened before. You might get one weak one in July, but especially the strength of that first one, where it actually destroyed a couple of homes. No one was killed. There were a couple of injuries, but no one was like severely injured or killed. You just don't see tornadoes like that in Michigan. And then the next day we were back to snow. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell button so you're notified every time a video like this comes out. And while you're at it, why don't you check out chasepal.us? That way you're able to connect with us over all social media platforms.